everybody, we're going to be doing some gesture drawing today as promised. I see you guys all out there. So let's go ahead and get started with understanding a little bit about the charcoal that I'm going to use. Gesture drawing is rapid execution of mark making on your surface as you draw. So when you gesture draw, there's a few other principles that you want to do or know to do as you're drawing, which means you need to know simple shapes, how to break complicated stuff down into simple shapes. You need to understand sighting, how big things are and wide things are as they relate to something next to it. You also want to look at your vertical placement, which is like the bottoms of everything in the composition. So when you are drawing, you have a whole bunch of factors that you want to look at all at the same time. So I'm going to get started with showing you a little bit about your tools and what I'm going to be using. My primary tool will be Vine charcoal. I have gloves on because I get my nails did and I don't like my cuticles dirty. So I have gloves on for this whole demonstration. So I have in here what's called Vine charcoal. I have compressed charcoal, and I have Conte, and then I have compressed charcoal pencils. So I have a few different items that I'm going to show you in just a minute. Let me get this here thing right here out. Never mind, forget it. Anyway, put this down. I'm kind of tethered onto my camera with this cord right now, so I don't want to knock things down. So anyway, here's my Vine charcoal. And Vine charcoal is simply burned twigs or hardwood sticks that have been put in a chamber and burned for a certain amount of time until they turn into charcoal. But they don't fall apart like ashes. They stay kind of put together. That's why they're on a slow burn, so that they can stay put together and you can safely hold them as you draw. Okay? I'm going to put those down right here. And then we have compressed charcoal. And it has a different shape. Sometimes you might find round compressed charcoal, but not too often. The majority of the times that have found compressed charcoal was square. So compressed charcoal is square. Vine charcoal is generally round. So you can have small sticks of vine charcoal, or you can have really thick sticks of vine charcoal. It just depends on what they burn for the day. Sometimes they're at least an inch in diameter, or sometimes they can be even thinner than this. So all of it is vine charcoal. All of it works the same. It's very powdery because there's no binder in it. That segues me into the compressed charcoal, which is not as powdery. It's a little powdery, but not as powdery. So this has a binder in it. It has a glue binder in it to help it stick to the surface better than this one. This one gives you a kind of a light mark, and it kind of rubs off. Whoops! I just lost my reflector. I'm back. This one kind of blows off, and it's really, really kind of faint sometimes. So most of the time, sketch artists will use this for studies. They'll use this to do quick studies. And this is really, really movable material, the Vine charcoal. It's very movable. It erases off really, really well. This one is the compressed charcoal. Again, this one has a binder in it, a glue binder, and it sticks to the paper a whole lot better, and it gives you a way darker mark. It does erase very nicely, but it's a lot of material on the paper if you're just kind of practicing and trying to get your composition together before you get into putting your deep tones in. Put your deep tones in with your compressed charcoal blocks. Another thing that we have that we can work with are charcoal pencils. These are made of compressed charcoal in a wooden chamber. They're in a wooden chamber, and they come in different grades like the pencils do that we talked about before. These come in hard, medium, and soft. Sometimes there's numbers on them, 2B, HB, 4B, 6B. So the bigger the number is, the softer these are going to be. So these are really, really cool for details and finding edges. So look at this, check this out, how I've shaved it. I love to shave them because I like to put the pencil on the side sometimes and do like that kind of thing. You can hold it in a tripod position, such as this, tripod position, or you can hold it in the overhand position. Okay, so both of these are totally acceptable ways of drawing. I recommend when you're drawing upright like this that you go under your hand. Yeah, under your hand. You want to draw under your hand because that segues me into the next thing, body mechanics. Okay, with body mechanics, when you're drawing and sketching and doing gesture work like we're going to do right now, you want to come from your shoulder. You want to come from your shoulder and you want to draw in this manner. Okay, you do not want to hold your hand down and make little marks like that. You don't want to go with a tripod position like this. This is going to constrict your drawing flow. You want to loosen it up, step back about 1.5 feet. Let your arm extend as far as you can, but not too far. You don't want a straight arm like that. You want to bounce it. You want to kind of bounce the elbow just a little bit, but keep that wrist nice and tight. Let your shoulder rotate, okay? So in gesture drawing, what we're going to do is break down that composition right there. We're going to break it down into simple shapes, looking at the vertical placement, looking at the height and width. And we did a video on sighting. Hopefully you saw the sighting so you can know how to use this thing to sight with. So I'm going to go ahead and get my compressed charcoal. The compressed charcoal pencil would be good to start a study with, but the lines are so hard. You probably want to stick with the vine charcoal because the lines are not so hard, and we can do a lot of searching lines so that we can establish our layout before we get in there and do some hardcore shading. So now I'm just gonna leave that right there. It's no big deal. So I'm just gonna look at my composition, and as you look at the composition, your hands need to move at the same time. And I'm rolling my shoulder. So I'm gonna start with the biggest thing up there, and I see a simple shape here. I see a simple shape there, and I'm just keep on moving, and then I see an angle here, and I have gotten so accustomed with seeing my angles and my widths and all of my proportional relationships that I don't really use my tool as much, but you can. You can use your tool to find your height and width relationship. So this thing is taller than it is wide. That's what I know. It's taller than it is wide. I found my unit of measurement by closing one eye and holding my tool out at arm's length and let my thumb be my slide rule, okay? Hold your eye, lock your elbow, and you look at your height, and I'm looking at the large can. Then I'm going to turn it before I move my finger, and I'm going to look at my width. So, wait a minute. I thought it was taller than it is wide. Okay. You got to be in the same spot every time you look. So, this one is that much tall, and it is that much wide. It is wider than it is tall. My bad. So, what do I have here? Do I have more wide than it is tall? Probably so. So, from here to here is where I've measured my can, from there to there. And so, from here to here should be wider than it is tall. And from the naked eye, from my observation, it does look like that, even though I could probably take a ruler and measure it, or take my stick and measure it, and yes. So here we go, back into the gesture, very quick, rapid execution of mark making. And then I have this little thing on the top, and I'm looking at the shape of that part, and then this part right here, and then that part there. So you want to look at everything in the piece. Keep it fluid, keep it moving. Don't slow down at all. I have an angle right here, and another angle here, another angle there, angle there. And basically just keep it nice and fresh, okay? Don't worry about developing a shading pattern or anything. You want to look at your angles, you want to look at your height and your width of everything. You want to look at how they sit with each other. So, and I'm going to do that little flower pot next to it, but I'm just going to do it basic opening at the top like that. And then I have another opening down here, and keep it light because sometimes you have to overlap. So I'm actually overlapping this thing back here. All right, but I do have the scallops on there. So this is my time to find a simple shape here. Just make some circles, and you're gonna use those as a guide to creating those 5 scallops, even though I just put 4. So you're gonna use it as a guide, and you can develop your scallops that way. But keep looking at the way those are created. keep looking at the way it's formed on the ceramic. Don't be trying to guess. Just look at what you see. And draw, see how fragile they are? Just look at everything in its line. Look at its line, how it's falling. So now I have my 5 pieces. I have a few little tools, paint brushes, and pencils coming out of there. Just very loose, very gestural. Don't take your time and draw an edge. No contouring, no slowing down, definitely no erasers. This right here, that movement that I was doing here, that's not what you want to do. You want to keep it fluid, keep it loose, keep it wild and crazy lines, okay? Keep it fluid, keep it loose, wild and crazy. Look at your orientations of everything. Like now I'm seeing that this thing, the guideline going through there is about at the right level. I'm seeing that the guideline here where the can is entering the square, I am a little low with this part. It needs to go up. So when you are gesture drawing, you want to do mini studies. You want to continue to look at that and continue to make adjustments as you are working with your gesture experience. Because now look, I can raise this up. I can raise this up right here just to make a correction on this sheet. And then when I get a new sheet, then I'll know that I have to lift that up so that the large can enters the back side of the square can next to it. So now I pretty much, and this down here would be wrong. Oops, I keep on breaking my stuff up. So anyway, have fun with this, okay? Just have fun. Keep practicing seeing proportions, simple shapes, vertical placements, negative space. I didn't mention that, the space in between stuff. Evaluate the negative space in between stuff because that's going to really help you understand that if your positive things are in the right order. When you get on your sheet, stretch your arm out, okay? Put your tool underneath your hand. Use fine charcoal. Tool underneath your hand, and you want to use your whole shoulder to sketch. You're going to have a very fluid, a very loose, a very expressive drawing, okay? You don't need to shade it or anything like that. Just do lines. Just keep these lines fluid and moving. Definitely use your tool. If you have to do sighting, use a tool. But you see this one is really, really short right now. So I can't really sight with this one. So if you have a pencil hanging around, you can use your pencil for sighting, okay? You can switch it up if you have to. So I hope that this tutorial helps, and we'll see each other next time.